MotoAmerica on beIN Sports is presented by Dunlop Motorcycle Tires, the only motorcycle tires designed, tested, and made in America for how you ride. And powered by Kawasaki. Let the good times roll. Back at Pitt Race in Wampum, Pennsylvania, the west side of Pennsylvania, close to the Ohio border, trying to draw some fans in here from our old Mid-Ohio crowd. And you can see Tony Elias.
I think that's Tony.
Is that Tony?
Maybe, I don't know what he's cooling himself off or.
But, you know, one rider who put on a heck of a show in the Pizzazz Superstock 1000 class was Bobby Fong, and that Kawasaki rider is with Hannah.
That's right, Bobby. Yesterday, I didn't get a chance to catch up with you after the race. You came from pretty far back to pull off the win at the last minute. It was a really exciting finish for you. Tell us about if you've made any changes for today or if you have the same strategy as yesterday, maybe.
Yeah, yesterday was a good race. You know, fortunately we got the win, but we made some minor changes today, hopefully to stick with the front pack a little sooner so I don't have to work so hard at the end of the race. But going to give it my all and just race myself on the bike and see what happens in the end.
All right, best of luck to you. Thanks, Bobby.
All right, so Bobby on the Quicksilver latest Motorsports Kawasaki. Then that crew made some slight changes to get him off the bottom of the forks when we get to the places that have the G-out effect. So like say the bottom of turn number 5, turn number 1 and 18. Yep. A good look at our pole sitter, Roger Hayden on the 95 Yoshimura Suzuki.
Yep, and Roger's done very good about getting that bike on pole position, and I know he's hungry for a win. I'm looking at Jake Lewis there. Jake was right in the front of that pack of Superbikes yesterday, as was Matthew Skultz. And there's your pick, Jake Gagne, who I love. I love the pick. I'd love nothing more than to see Jake Gagne put it on the podium. I think he's deserving, and he rode so well yesterday. And you said, Greg, you know, you did that yesterday with you know, lack of a lot of the electronics that a lot of these guys have.
So Tony Elias, I talked to his crew chief, and we had a conversation. It was the right side of the tire that ended up getting chewed up. It was probably of what Dunlop told me, of all the top Superbike riders, it was the worst. So they've made some changes on the suspension to manage that. Jake Lewis, getting to about a lap 12, he started to experience some front-end chatter, so he and his M4 X-Star Suzuki crew went to work, and they actually changed the rear end of that motorcycle, Jason, and they changed some shock and some linkages to actually get the front to work a little bit better, especially when Jake gets beyond that kind of 8 laps to go area. So we'll see if those changes are going to pay off for him. He's also going to make a change to the medium front. He ran the soft front, so that could be something really big.
Something maybe a little bit more durable underneath him.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And as for Cameron Beaubier, well, he had an absolute weapon of a motorcycle yesterday. Subtle changes for he and his Monster Energy Yamalube Yamaha factory racing machine, as Beaubier has just got the feel right now, Jason. It's just, they made that front end change a few races ago, and all of a sudden it just woke Cameron and his crew up. And Cameron knows that it's going to be incredible if he can hold on to that number 1 plate, but he wants to put up the best fight possible.
He can definitely throw down some race results at the end of the year. As you look at our Dunlop grid here, Roger Hayden on pole. Tony Elias lines up next to him. Jake Lewis, all Suzuki front row. Cameron Beaubier, Matthew Skultz, and Josh Hayes. I'm looking forward to seeing Josh get a better start today and get himself in the mix early. I believe that's going to happen. Danny Eslick, Jake Gagne, and Kyle Wyman on row 3. Kyle faded just a little bit yesterday, so hopefully they made some changes to get him a little bit more comfortable. Bobby Fong, Anthony West, Sylvain Barrier round out row 4. Talked to some of the guys in Sylvain's team today that said this is like a big test for them. Hayden Gillum, David Anthony, Jason DeSalvo, and then rounding out the row 6 there is Bryce Prince and Mike Flinders.
Jason DeSalvo, of course, back in race action. We saw him a couple of times. He's on that WD-40. Just happens to be a great number for Jason DeSalvo. Also sponsored by Hayes Brakes. And from what we understand out in Germany, the folks from Hayes Brakes are watching this broadcast now that MotoAmerica is available all across the world. So welcome the world to MotoAmerica racing here in the United States. And yesterday's Superbike race was incredible, as most of the way through the race until Cameron Beaubier pulled the pin, we saw 7 Motul Superbike and Pizzazz Superstock 1000 bikes going after the lead.
And 2 of those guys, Bobby Fong and Josh Hayes, weren't really part of that group because Bobby was so far back at the start and Josh ran off in turn 1. So literally we could have 9 guys really in this front lead group potentially when we get this race started. I think a couple of the more Superstock bikes that weren't there yesterday could be there today.
All right, well, let's get the JP keys to the race here, Jason, because we got quite a few of them.
Yeah, well, I think the big question is, can Beaubier get to the front sooner? And by that I mean, can he get a better start? Can he lead some of the opening early laps? Can he not let somebody else dictate the pace at the front? I think that's key, because Cameron's got a lot of pace, got a lot of roll speed through these, especially through all these lessons. You see Josh Hayes and Bobby Fong and the rest of the guys coming through. I think if Cameron can get up front, it could be interesting. Bobby Fong, consistency. The consistency that he ran in that race yesterday, he kind of let the race come back to him. He didn't get too worried when he saw everybody pulling away from him. And the consistent lap times he did, next thing you know, he was at the front of that super stock grid with race with 1 lap to go, and was able to make some passes to get the victory yesterday. As you see him going through the chicane there and clipping that curbing. What about birthday boy Jake Gagne today? Another year older, getting closer, isn't he, Greg? It's good to see that Honda showing some promise. And nobody has ever doubted the ability of Jake Gagne himself, but it was really nice yesterday to see him closer. He was in our frame a lot in that lead group yesterday, and let's hope that we can see a little bit more of that, because the diversity that we have at the front, we've got Kawasaki's and Suzuki's and Yamahas. It's great to see a Honda in there also now. So
happy birthday to Jake Gagne and his broster Chicken Honda team. Let's get out of Hannah, who has our Motul last-minute report. Hannah?
Well, JP just stole it, because it was my last-minute report that it's Jake Gagne's birthday. Hopefully that'll bring him a little bit more luck today. Maybe that's why he's riding so well this weekend. But it was really nice to be down in the pits and seeing his team smiling yesterday and celebrating. And it's his birthday today, so hopefully they'll have some extra celebrations to do this afternoon.
Yeah, definitely, like virtually a win.
And I'm not liking what I'm seeing there. There look like a lot of concern on Jake Gagne's face coming to the line there, and I'm not sure what's going on. So let's keep an eye on that Honda there in the middle of your screen as we get ready to go, Greg.
So here we go, race number 2, the final race in MotoAmerica here at Pitt Race, and we're underway. The clutches are out, and it looks like Tony Elias with a good launch, as did our pole sitter Roger Hayden. So into turn number 1, Elias with his foot out, and Cameron Beaubier tried to sweep around the outside, but he's going to get back to 4th.
Yeah, that's going to cost him. He just got in there a little deep. I think he was trying to get to the front a little earlier, like I had mentioned in the keys to the race. He just got himself running just a little bit wide early. Now he's got a super stock bike in front of him, and Skultz goes around. You see Danny Eslick, but Skultz rode around the outside of Cameron Beaubier as they peeled off down into turn number 4 there. And Raj, right off the bat, looking racy at the front, opening up a small gap.
So this sector up through turn number 7. We're going to be heading into split number 2 from this point all the way to turn 15. And talking to Roger Hayden's crew, they felt that was the big deal. As Skultz advances his way into 4th place. So right now, Roger Hayden's in the sector where he and his team worked all night long to try to get sorted out.
Josh Hayes, Greg, has just gone by Lewis, he's gone by Beaubier, and this is the problem that I kind of see just a little bit sometimes with Cameron. The intensity level at the start of these races, he was literally went off into turn 1, almost in the lead, and now he's all the way back to 6th or 7th. This makes his race a lot harder now. These super stock bikes are not easy to pass. And look at Matthew Skultz on that Westby Racing R1, trying his best to get around Tony Elias right now. He's disposed of a bunch of people on this opening lap. And he jumps over the curb. He's across the grass now.
Save it. He does a good job, Matthew Skultz. So that could have been disaster for the field, being this tight and this early on in the race. But the Yamalu Westby Racing number 11 holds on to it. But Fong now going up the inside.
And Cameron Beaubier was able to get by Jake Lewis, and then that mistake by Skultz gave him another spot. So that other spot came relatively easily. But look who's on the charge. Number 4, Josh Hayes, has got the start that he needed. Told me this morning that he felt a lot better on the bike than he had been feeling. But what about Raj Hayden? First lap right out of the box. 1.1 second lead for Raj this morning, who led morning warm-up. Is he going to try to transfer that now into a race win? Right now, Greg, he's getting away and he's making it look easy.
So his teammate, Tony Elias, in 2nd spot right now, has had an incredible run this season. Tony, when he stands on the podium, it's either 1st or 2nd, hasn't even finished 3rd, and he's only had 1 DNF all season long in an incident earlier on in the season. So right now, Josh Hayes talking to his crew chief. We talked about the pace that Josh Hayes has, that there is no one better in this field that can settle into a lap time than Josh Hayes. If he can pull off a 44.7 now, he can probably do it all the way to the end of the race.
Yeah, well, he's going to have to get into the 42s. That's what these guys are going to be down to, 41s probably, Greg. You know, that was from a standing start, that opening lap. So the thing is that he's going to be able to get on the back of Tony. Josh isn't going to mess around. You know, Josh is going to do everything he can to get by Tony Elias as quickly as he can. And see what I mean with Cameron? Cameron's right there now. He's got shuffled back a little bit at the beginning of the lap, but now he's right back on the back of his teammate and Elias.
Josh Hayes on the brakes, foot out on that one. If Josh Hayes' foot goes out, you know he's in there deep, and that's going to cost him a couple of bike lengths at this point. Number 4 is Josh Hayes on that Monster Energy Yamaha factory racing machine. So it's our typical 4 up front, but man, Roger Hayden is really throwing it down on. I mean, this is, look at that.
41.1, Greg. To give you an instance, this morning in morning warm-up, he was at 41.2, and he led all the time, the top of the time sheets this morning with a 41.2. So on his first flying lap, he's already gone quicker. Josh Hayes is going to do everything he can to try to get himself by Tony. Now, they're coming here into turn 3. You're going to see him go left, quick flick downhill, back to the right, and then this is all straight downhill. We're going to be trying to watch this gap. It's up to 1.8 now, does Raj have at the front. But this is where Josh needs to get a little bit closer so that he can try to do something with Tony when they go down into turn 7. Cameron yesterday was really strong down this hill going into turn 7. He passed Elias. He's trying to get up alongside of his teammate right now, and he can't. And how about Matthew Scults? He made that little mistake early. He's been able to pull himself away from Bobby Fogg ever so slightly to get himself back into this battle with these Superbikes.
And of course, Matthew Scults in a Pizzazz Superstock 1000 title fight. As we look at Tony Elias, who sits on 65 points ahead of Cameron Beaubier in his bid for his first MotoAmerica title in the United States. The former Moto2 world champion, now racing here in the U.S. Former MotoGP winner as well. So Tony Elias on the Yoshimura Suzuki. I mentioned earlier that he and his crew worked on the motorcycle to try to get the rear end of that, basically the right side of that tire to comply a little bit better. But just looking at these lap times right now, I mean, 41.8 isn't anything shabby. It's just the fact that Roger Hayden is just on fire right now.
Just goes out from runs 41.1. Yesterday, I believe 41.2 was the fastest lap of the race yesterday. That was by Cameron Beaubier. So I'm looking even further back right now, just seeing what's coming across. Gagne is now going to start to charge. It looks like Tony's in a little bit deep, gets the thing controlled though. It's a slow down. You see him just run a little bit wide there, Greg.
Yep.
But let's see if Josh is able to get close enough. It looks like Josh got Cameron. Josh must have made a mistake too, because maybe Tony getting a little deep kind of drew Josh in there a little bit deep also.
It looks like Beaubier got around him, and he did. So the number 1 plate by his teammate Hayes. And Jake Gagne just off in the distance there on that red motorcycle, just out of tow right now from Matthew Scults. And that team talked to me about making adjustments to that Honda CBR 1000RR. It was this moment to the race, the first 5 to 6 laps, they were trying to get better traction out of that CBR 1000RR because they looked at the race tires afterwards on Jake Gagne's motorcycle, and they said these things look absolutely great. And Jake said he had no problems, so he was trying to get it to go better so he could get that better start.
Yeah, and like I said, there was a lot of look of concern on Jake Gagne's face when we did that last-minute report by Hannah down there, and I'm hoping that whatever he was feeling has gone away, and he's able to just kind of keep his head down and keep focusing on these 3 ahead of him. That's the Superbike podium right in front of him right now. And what can you say about Matthew Scults? Talking to Chuck and the team down there, they're not really interested in beating any of the Superbikes. That's kind of been their mantra all year long. They just want to focus on the Superstock Championship. But what do you do when you're quite a bit faster than a couple of the Superbikes in front of you? Do you stop charging, or do you keep moving forward? And I think that Matthew's got to keep moving forward.
Not to mention, Jason, he's on a Yamaha, and he's got 2 factory Superbike Yamahas that are right up ahead of him. And if Scults puts himself between, if he puts himself between the factory bikes and the Yoshimura bikes, there's a points loss. I'm not saying that there's team orders at all, but it's something that you definitely have to think about. Genuine Broaster Chicken, Honda CBR 1000R SP2. That's Jake Gagne right now sitting in 6th spot. Yesterday, a very impressive 4th place, causing the team to blow up some balloons and celebrate hard last night till about 9:30 at night.
Yeah,
usually they're working
awesome
on the bike, so they had a good little break for them.
How about Raj? 2.3 second lead, still doing 41s, 41.5. Guys behind him are at 41.7. Cameron Beaubier is the danger man though, Greg. 41.3.
He just got.
This guy gets through, and he's going to have a go right now in turn 7. If he gets through, it's going to be hard work for Raj. Raj's going to have to just keep those times consistent and pace himself the way he's pacing himself right now. Right now, Raj is just looking straight ahead, hitting all of his marks, doing a fantastic job. But it's going to be difficult for Cameron Beaubier to get by Tony. We already know that going in.
No question, Jason. But if Cam Beaubier can get by Tony in short order here, he's really got to think about his teammate Josh Hayes. If Josh can close down on Tony Elias and put himself himself between, you know, put Josh in between. And what about Schultz? Could he help Yamaha's effort? Because the more positions Tony's back, the closer this championship's going to get. Wow, that was really close as Cam Beaubier closed right up on the 24. Through the chicane they go.
Gets
sorry.
It's fine.
I saw that foot come off that bike. That might have been a little close to that curve, Jay.
See how tight Tony runs it into the last corner? He's just closing the door. He's making it hard. His bike is moving around right more under initial throttle, and that's going to help Cameron. Cameron's trying to go around the outside of him here. Maybe he's going to cross back underneath him as they go into turn one. Let's have a look here. But the thing is, Greg, is that I see Tony's bike moving around a lot more under initial acceleration than it was yesterday.
Yeah.
This is where Cameron's bike is so bad.
And Jason
is right there.
He is, but Jake Gagne's charging on Matthew Schultz, and he might upset the party a little bit.
The thing is that crew down there, the Westby team, there's a bunch of smart guys, and they're giving Jake that sort of +3 or +4 back to Bobby Fong, and that's all that Matthew's really worried about right now. I said Jake, but I meant Matthew. They're giving Matthew Schultz that time of how big his lead is. So if he starts getting a lot of pressure from Gagne and he doesn't feel like he wants to really fight with him, you might see him just let Gagne go through. But right now, Roger's riding so superbly at the front of this. Look at Josh Hayes. Josh is closing that gap up to his teammate now all of a sudden.
Absolutely.
Josh just went the quickest second split of the race at a 34.2 compared to his teammates 34.5 that time. So all of a sudden now, Josh is starting to really try to go forward. Both Yamahas look tremendous.
So let's see the lap time. So Roger now answers with a 41.2 to a 41.6. Hayes for a moment went 41.1. So Josh Hayes just goes fastest lap of the race. There's Fong on the Quicksilver latest Motorsports Kawasaki ZX-10R, number 50 Fong. We saw him do that last lap yesterday where Fong backed her in. And I talked to his crew chief. Remember that last lap pass going into turn one? He backed it in. He lost the front twice. They saw it on the data where he lost the front, got off the brakes, got it, turned it back in, lost the front again, got off the brakes. But Bobby Fong is in race mode and he turns his brain off. He is one of the fastest riders absolutely out there. You know, he was just doing the dirt track thing that Bobby Fong knows how to do. And his crew chief was like, man, someday I'm going to show you the data because it was absolutely incredible to look at the scrutiny lines and see how Bobby Fong was able to hold on to turn number one. Yeah, well, that's, you know, Bobby's a racer. He was a little bit worried going into the race yesterday, but you saw what he did. Now, looking at the times, Greg, I'm really psyched to see that Rogers being able to hold that pace in 3.1 seconds in the front. That's what he's got to be able to do, and if that's comfortable for him, that's tremendous. Josh Hayes right now is charging. He's catching up to his teammate. He ran the fastest lap of the race the last time through, and it's going to be interesting to see what Josh does with Cameron. I think he knows that Cameron is closest to the championship lead that he is. He's been such a corporate guy, and we're going to get a look here at Josh as they came up over the top of the rise. That's Cameron, but if you watch the next people on your screen, Josh maximizes the exit out of turn 14 up over the top of that hill, gets the bike squared up and underneath Tony going into that key. Same move that Cam made on
Exact
Tony
same move.
earlier. Yep. So Hayes now closing right up on the tailpipe of his teammate. Didn't get that one so tidy.
Well, great. It's so tricky going up over turn one because it's so blind and it's so hard to get it right lap after lap. I've seen more carnage there this weekend than probably any turn we've seen this year. Here you go, a little further back. Sylvain Berrier battling with Danny Eslick. This is the battle for 8th place. Sylvain's on a BMW, so Danny's on that TOBC Yamaha. And couldn't quite get up alongside of Sylvain enough there, but talking to the crew today with Sylvain Berrier, they said, you know, Dave, this is kind of a test for us. We're out there testing. They didn't come here and test. They're looking forward to Jersey and Barber and some of those places, but they're going to just continue to try to make this BMW work better for Sylvain. Sylvain's won a FIM Superstar Championship on one of these BMWs about 2 or 3 years ago, so he's racing with Superbike on BMW. So he's got a lot of ties with the company.
So then Berrier, number 28, to Danny Eslick on the 69. So Eslick losing a little bit of ground there. Just to give you an idea what's going on up front, last time by, Roger Hayden lost another couple tenths to Cam Beaubier and Josh Hayes. And Roger Hayden's lead is down to 2.7 seconds. But it's 8 laps to go. And you can see there's Roger Hayden in your frame. So Roger Hayden well within sights of Cam Beaubier and Josh Hayes right now. And now
Really
Beaubier
responded this lap because he's pulled away from Josh just a little bit too.
Yeah, getting close to that. Going to 7 laps to go as we look at Jake Gagne. Genuine Rooster Chicken on a Yamalu. Westby Racing R1. Gagne's trying to reel in that super stock bike.
2.1 now, Greg. So 41.6 to a 41 flat. Fastest lap of the race, Cameron Beaubier. 41 flat, almost into the 40s. And that's tremendous. You know, he pulled away from Josh there. Josh went 41.4. And you can see the gap now. This is where Cameron's so good. He can just chip away these laps.
Oh, wow!
Hayden Gillum into the tire wall. That's turn 1, Greg. That bike went up over the top of the barrier. I wouldn't be surprised to see this race red flag, Greg. He went into that tire barrier awfully hard. You can see here, he gets into turn 1. Oh, he almost hit the back of Jake Lewis. Now he's off in the grass in the no man's land. He's got to bail, but he bails out in front of the motorcycle and gets into that wall. That bike goes up over the top of the barrier. Yeah, red flag. We're getting it now. It's a red flag. Of course it's a red flag. That bike's going to be where these riders are looking right now. If you look, Greg, they're looking over to the right. They can see his bike. His bike went up over the top of that barrier.
Wow, so Hayden Gillum on the 169 out of Philpott, Kentucky. That's the Cycle World Suzuki entry. He was having a really good go at it. And that was a huge, huge issue for Hayden Gillum. We certainly hope that Hayden is okay as he hit that tire wall. So a red flag comes out here in this race, and as we revert back to the last lap, we'll have to see what the running order is and what MotoAmerica is going to do. So during a red flag situation, all racing stops, and the scoring reverts back to the last lap. There were 7 laps to go in this one. So what will MotoAmerica decide to do? It's totally up to them. When this stopped with 11 laps in the books, it was Roger Hayden leading the way from Cam Beaubier, Josh Hayes. Tony Elias was in 4th, Matthew Skoltz in 5th. Jake Gagne was in 6th, Bobby Fong in 7th, Sylvain Barrier in 8th, Danny Eslick in 9th. Jake Lewis back in 10th was having a battle with Hayden Gillum. Anthony West on the Kawasaki in 12th. Bryce Prince in 13th, Kyle Wyman back in 14th, and Jason DeSalvo in 15th spot. So we have red flag conditions here. We're going to take a break on beIN Sports. So we'll get this whole thing sorted out as Roger Hayden had a 2.7 second lead before the red flag. We'll find out what's going on after. Stay with us. Welcome back to Pitt Race. We're under red flag conditions for the MoTool Superbike and Bazaz Superstock 1000 class, as Hayden Gillum had an incident that threw him off his motorcycle into the tire barrier. So while we wait to see what's going to happen to this race, we'll get down to Hannah. I believe, Hannah, you with someone down there?
Yeah, I'm with our current race leader right now, Roger Hayden, during this red flag. Roger, seems like you figured something out. You're running a really steady, consistent pace. What's going on out there?
Yeah, you know, the team made a great job overnight. We made some changes and felt a lot better out there and was just gotten a good rhythm and, you know, built up a nice gap. I knew Josh and I knew Cameron was starting to inch up on me a little bit, so really hate to see the red flag, man, to erase all that work, but it is what it is, and had to try to do it again.
All right, good luck. Thanks, Roger.
Man, Roger Hayden sometimes just can't catch a break.
Poor guy.
I mean
I don't know what he's got to do. He's so far today, you know, like you said, his crew, there's Frenchie. They've done a good job with giving him something that he feels like he can go out and ride, obviously, really well. And we're getting a little bit of word right now that Hayden Gillum is up and standing, which is just the most tremendous news that we could get right now after seeing what just happened there.
Looks like his crew chief, I think, Rick Matheny out there comforting him right now. So Hayden Gillum is standing, which is good news. Let's take a look at this scary crash, Jason.
Well, he's in there just a little deep, and rather than take out Jake, and look, Jake even saw him. And but see, this is the problem. And the thing is if he could have augured the bike in down on the left-hand side, but it got in the grass and it high-sided him, so it threw him ahead of the motorcycle, and then he went off into that tire barrier. And it's, you know, this is a guy that wanted to get up really bad. For them to not let him lay there in a, you know, lay down on a flat board with a neck brace, he wanted to get up bad. But you can see he's in a neck brace. This guy is literally one of the most talented riders we have in our paddock. He's another guy that's just fighting man in the van with a plan. That's what he's all about.
That's right.
Hayden Gillum. And when you talk to this guy, tremendous dirt tracker. He's won some big dirt tracks this year. And
on a Suzuki.
Always in a good mood when you talk to him. Even on his worst day, be like, Jay, it's not going great today. But, and he'll be smiling about something. Just a tremendous guy.
And you can learn more about Hayden Gillum and his effort if you go to cycleworld.com, man with the van and the plan, and they keep you updated through that tremendous website. So, learn about him and his effort in the year. It's actually great. It's great to see all that stuff. So,
yeah.
So Hayden Gillum on the Cycle World Suzuki out of Kentucky will be out of this race. And here's some highlights for what's happened so far. We're so happy to see that Hayden is up and in the ambulance. But here's how it all kind of came to it as Roger Hayden got himself a good launch.
Great launch. Look there's Cameron Bobier right behind him, and he almost taps the back of Raj, and that's going to cost him a couple spots. Both Tony and Jake are able to do something with Cameron right away. And as this first lap unfolded, Cameron was just going backwards a little bit. And I'm sure that's going to be something he's going to want to really improve with the restart of this race. But Tony Elias, right there in second place, he was going fast, but the two Yamahas behind him were just getting held up a little bit. And all the while, Roger's just laying down awesome times. There's Jake Gagne getting a little bit loose coming out of the last corner. But here's the pass that both Yamaha riders made on Tony. Tony peeling it back over to the right for this fast kink. But Cameron and Josh both, you're going to see it here now. Josh Hayes going to do the same thing on the right-hand side of your screen. Look at it. Josh maximizes the exit of that fast off-camber blind turn 14 and is able to stuff himself underneath Tony in that kink. That's fourth or fifth gear flat out, you guys. It's a fast turn to do it, so it's a big commitment. But this is the reason why we had to stop. Now, if the bike would have just gone down to the right, it would have been all right. But all the hits that he just took there, he took some big hits on the ground, and then he hit the tire wall. Still probably traveling at 80 or 90 mile an hour, Greg. And man, to see that guy get up and walk away, that makes me so happy. The bike ended up on the other side of this railing, and is where the runoff for the other bikes would be. Like there's a slow left over there, medium corner, second gear left, and the bike ended up over into their area. So very, very lucky that the bike didn't do any other damage on the other side of the track.
And lucky that Hayden got up and in the ambulance, like you said. And of course, this is our first time to Pitt Race and all of these things. The entire weekend will be reviewed by MotoAmerica, and the track here, the owners of the track are absolutely fantastic, and they're loving this race, and the fans are loving the event. So make no mistake that things will be talked about here for the possibility of coming back to Wampum, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, and this crowd right here that are standing, they're standing, and that's right. Basically, they probably all saw where that accident was, because this is turn 2 coming up over the top of the hill. So they'll have a good look at where turn 1 is. You can see the runoff area that there is there, but you can see how quickly it gets chewed up, Greg, when you get off the track going a little bit quicker. Hayden just couldn't get the bike slowed down enough without hitting Jake, so he wasn't braking as hard as he normally would going in there. But that was really unfortunate to see. But that's where all these fans are.
A look down pit lane. You can see just the elevation there as teams are getting informed by the MotoAmerica officials on exactly what's going on. And there's Cameron Bobier having a little chit-chat with Jake Zemke off to the left there and his crew chief. So they'll be chatting about, hey, is there anything we need to do? Is he going to get new tires put on that thing? So I'm sure that Bobier had a little talk to about. Oh, and there's Davy Jones and Roger Hayden's crew chief. They're looking at some lap times. And Roger just got that look on his face, doesn't he?
Yeah, well, he's probably thinking to himself, like, I've got to get back out there and do this all over again. He can. They might just be making it a 4, 5, 6 lap. Not sure exactly what they're doing. Maybe that's what Roger's shaking his hat at. I'm not exactly sure. 6-lap sprint race, Greg.
Yeah.
So that's what it looks like they're going to do. And so now the thing is that he's got to be able to get off to that good start again, and just like he did the first time, get his head down and do the business.
And I hate to say it, if they're not able to make any changes to Tony Elias's motorcycle, then Roger's going to hope that his teammate right here is able to get himself in between Roger and the rest of the field. Tony Elias, let's see what he can do on a 6-lap sprint race. He's going to go all in, no doubt about it. We're going to find out. Take a break. On the other side, more coming at you from Pitt Race. Back here at Pitt Race, the MotoAmerica Superbike and Pizzazz Superstock 1000 classes. We're getting ready to resume a 6-lap sprint race. This is going to be very interesting, and we're told here in a matter of minutes, or maybe less than 2 minutes, that the riders will be released from pit lane and do a warm-up and go. That's what we're being told. We'll see. Most of the time, we see a sighting lap, quick grid, a warm-up lap, and go. So we'll see what the procedure looks like right now. As you can see, the Genuine Broaster Chicken Honda team.
They're doing something to that bike. So whatever Jake was shaking his head or had that concerned look on his face for, maybe they're able to kind of get that fixed now. I'm not sure what that is, Greg, but.
All right, let's go down to Hannah, who has Bobby Fong.
Is the race restart, this red flag, a bit of an advantage for you or a disadvantage, would you say?
We'll see. I don't know. I felt like I was just getting into my rhythm. You know, I felt like I was catching the guys a little bit at the end where my strong point is right now. But we'll see how we go in the restart. I know a lot of people are going to try to do some dive bombs out there knowing there's 6 laps to go, but we're going to play it smart and see what happens.
All right. Best of luck. Thanks, Bobby.
All right. Thank you, Hannah. So we're getting word now that pit lane will open at 10 minutes after, so just about 4.5 minutes or so, and the quick start procedure will be in play.
Yeah, so they'll go out, do a sighting lap, just come take their grid spots really quick, and then off they'll go. I think it's really hard. You know, Hannah asked a great question there of if it's an advantage or not an advantage. It's hard when you have to do these restarts and, you know, you come in and your crew tells you what just happened and why the red flag happened, and everyone's holding their breath there for Hayden, obviously. And it puts a rider in a weird spot mentally. You gotta try to remember, you know, after you know that Hayden's up, he's okay. That's a big sigh of relief for all the riders right off the bat. And here you go, looking at the Broaster's Chicken Honda CBR 1000 of Jake Gagne. So I'm not sure. Looks like something maybe to do with the rear brake rig. I can't tell.
Nah, you know what it is?
It's a clutch. Yep,
it's clutch.
A clutch. Yep, they're doing a clutch. I just saw it there at the end part of that. I could see that it was a clutch. But, you know, Bobby is got to get himself in the mindset of, hey, now I've got that bike that was leading right next to me on the grid. There's not a 3 or 4 or 5, 6 second, and now it's a new race. Anything can happen. So,
especially with 6 laps to go. I mean, this is a full-blown. They don't have to worry about tires. They don't have to worry about fuel. It's just going to be a go-for-it kind of situation. And, you know, this – Jason, we talk about winning championships, and you've got to be good, and you've got to have a good crew, but you also have to have some luck behind you, don't you?
No
and
question.
I think the person who might make out in all this is going to be Tony Elias, because I guarantee you his crew's not sitting back.
If he gets a start and can do what he does best, which is put himself in awkward spots and try to not make people pass him, it could be anybody's race. We could see a big group there. By the way, do you guys have any idea how hard it is to change a clutch when it's that hot? You know?
Yeah.
So let's get down and see who Hannah's got. You got Cameron Bobier for us, huh, Hannah?
Yep, Cam's here. The race restart gives you the opportunity to try and catch up, back up to Roger. Is your strategy going to change a little bit, or how's the tire feeling out there for you?
Yeah, you know, I struggled a little bit to get going there. Kind of got slotted back. On the restart, I just need to, you know, get the best start I can, put my head down, and see what happens. I know Raj is going to be really strong, and also Josh behind me. So yeah, we'll see what happens.
All right, thanks, Cam. Best of luck.
Yeah, you know, and you heard him say that. Thanks, Hannah. You heard him say that he was a little bit slow off the start on the last time. More or less just getting your mind in gear to get going right off the bat. There's no time for, you know, there's beginning laps where you can make up a lot of time or you can lose a lot of time. And Cameron's such an amazing rider. It doesn't really matter if he gets a good start or a bad start. He's going to find his way to the front eventually anyways, but it just makes it a little harder on himself.
And red flag situations we've talked about. It's our second red flag of the day. You know, you can't really train for a red flag. That's the one thing. You can train for the intensity of a race as much as possible. You can even train race starts and laps and all that kind of stuff. But one thing you've got to live through and just get the experience is red flags. And you know what? It's just something that you've got to do to get your mind back right. All right, so we saw the Genuine Broaster Chicken Honda guys working on that motorcycle. Hannah, what about it?
Yeah, I'm here with the birthday boy. You know, did really well yesterday. You're running pretty well out there again today. You have a chance to restart and get a little bit further up to the front. How's the bike feeling? How's everything going right now?
It's good. Like you said, we had a great rate yesterday. We felt good with this Honda all weekend. The Road Race Factory Broaster Chicken guys have been working hard. Had a little problem with the quick shifter, so I didn't have a quick shifter, so I was chicken winging it out there pretty good. But these guys are dialing it in right now, and we'll be good for the 6 laps. Go for it.
All right, good luck. Thanks.
Quick shifter, Jason?
Yeah, it's just, you know, when everybody else has one and you don't, it's definitely a disadvantage. You know, it's I got a lot of my track day friends that are, 2 minutes off the pace going, well, I need a quick shifter. It's going to help me be faster than everybody. And it's like, well, not quite. But when you're at Jake Gagne's level and everybody else has one, it definitely is a little bit harder for you.
And for those that may be watching for the first time and don't know what a quick shifter necessarily is, it's actually a way for you to upshift your motorcycle without actually having to move the throttle. So you can leave the throttle wide open, and it's an electrical cut that allows just momentarily those clutch plates to release, and you can click up to the next gear so you don't have to, I guess, blip the throttle,
or roll out of
the throttle or use the clutch or anything like that. So. Yep. Well, it looks like pit lane's going to open up here in a matter of 15 seconds or so as the Genuine Broaster Chicken Road Race Factory team still frantically works on that motorcycle to make sure they have it all taken care of. You want to make sure that gasket on that side plate is all sealed up, because the last thing Jake needs with the 6-lap sprint race is going to be a little drip of oil on his boot.
Doesn't need that. Look at the first guy who's rolling out of pit lane.
He is fired up.
Alias is ready to go. The thing about that guy, he never believes that he's out of it until the checker flag goes. He just doesn't. But how about this guy, number 4? Josh Hayes getting a second shot at it. I believe he'll start from the front row. And I'll tell you right now, on a 6-lap restart, if that guy gets the whole shot, he's going to be very, very difficult to pass.
He will be.
And, you got to feel for Raj a little bit. You got to hope that Raj can get off to a really good start, quick start, fast start, and kind of get himself slotted back into where he was.
And you know what, Jason? This is something that really needs to be talked about. Touched on it yesterday. It was here at the test when Roger's brother, Nicky, when he had his accident in Italy with the car, and they knew at the time what Nicky's condition was and how bad it was. And Roger still went out and he soldiered on and he continued the test. And then he had to go home and deal with what was going on with his now departed brother, Nicky Hayden.
Yeah.
And ever since that time, there's been some talk, there's been anticipation of Roger Hayden winning the race and dedicating the race to his brother. And it's just been so close. And coming here and having a 2.7 second lead erased, because this is not aggregate time, folks. The way red flags work in MotoAmerica, it's very simple. We are restarting this race from the grid positions, how they finished. Everyone finished the last race. But any time advantage he had, any lap times, all those basically get evaporated. So what you see on the racetrack is exactly how the race is going to end. There's been some years where it's been aggregate in different series, MotoGP, Superbike racing, but this is a heads-up 6-lap sprint race to the finish. So whoever gets to the flag first wins.
I think a few of these guys are waiting for Tony Elias to come over the top of the hill after what he did at the start of the last time. He just kind of ripped over the top and off into the grass. But there's Tony. He knows. He's got the bike slowed down. He's going to come take his grid spot. I saw a couple of the crew members looking over at Tony's crew and having a little bit of a laugh there. So here comes Josh coming down and getting himself into his place. They're just going to keep him here for a few seconds, Greg, and they'll let him go again.
If you're tuning in for the Real Madrid versus Valencia game, it'll be coming up here after this race's conclusion. So hang tight and enjoy MotoAmerica Superbike racing. Real Madrid versus Valencia game is coming up very soon. We have a 6-lap sprint race here, and lap times are around 1 minute and 42 seconds. So once we get things going, so they are going to do just this brief, quick lap here, and now we're going to get this warm-up lap going. So there is Roger Hayden. He had a 2.7 second lead with 8 laps to go with a charging Cameron Bobier, who's in the middle part of your screen. He is the number 1 plate. And Josh Hayes on the number 4. So it's Yoshimura Suzuki still on pole position and a couple of Monster Energy Yamaha factory racing machines. What about Jake Gagne? Did the team get that motorcycle fixed in time? That was quite a quick fix. Very efficient team, but sometimes things can happen. So we'll see if everything's good with that Genuine Broaster Chicken Road Race Factory Honda CBR.
It looks fine, Greg. It
Yeah,
looks good.
and Matthew Skoltz, number 11 on that Yamalube Westby Racing machine. And also, what about Jake Lewis? See if they made any changes to that.
What about Jake Lewis? We got to find out what's going on with Jake.
He was racing back in 10th.
Yeah, he was winning yesterday. He's running hard, so I'm not sure what's going on there with Jake today. Obviously, maybe they've tried something different, and it just hasn't worked at all for him today. But the thing is, Greg, is we don't know. Maybe he ran off the track early in that last. This could be a big reprieve for him. Maybe he ran off the track and it was something that we didn't catch, and it was making his way back up. But yeah, for him to be that back, let's get down to Hannah.
Hannah.
Like had a chance to catch up with Jake Lewis briefly during the red flag, and he mentioned that they were making a couple of changes to suspension, so hopefully that will help him out a little bit. I'm not quite sure what the changes were or what was going on, but he was having a problem with the rear feel, so we will see if that helps him improve any as we restart here.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Hannah. Good information. So if Jake Lewis all of a sudden the 6-lap sprint race starts to charge forward, we know exactly what's going on. He and his crew coming up with a solution. All right, so Josh Hayes leading the way here on this warm-up lap. So this is it, warm-up lap, then grid and go. If you're just tuning in here to be in sports, expecting to see Real Madrid versus Valencia, that game will be coming up on the backside of this race as soon as we get this concluded. We were under red flag conditions here for MotoAmerica Superbike race action. We had a red flag stoppage, so that's delayed our program a little bit, but this is going to be a mad dash, a 6-lap sprint race to the end as we take a look at Jason DeSalvo on his Hayes brakes. WD-40 machine. Just behind him, Tony Elias. We usually don't see Tony Elias kind of getting out this late in the game. So Tony.
Yeah, he's going to come around. He wants to keep the heat in the tires, Greg, probably. And I saw him put his arm up pretty early. You can see him still on the gas, just trying to get some heat in those tires and make sure that when he's ready to go, he's ready to go.
Roger Hayden, 2.7 seconds. Now all for naught. He's got to do it again. Can Roger Hayden get the start he had in the first part of this race? And can he put his head down and get right into the lap times that he needs to keep the pressure on the rest of this field? A lot of emotions for Roger Hayden this weekend. He and his crew working really hard. Last night, they came up with a fantastic solution that they told me solves their issue in split sector number 2, which goes between turn 7 and turn 15. The red light, upper left-hand part of your screen's going on, and then we're going to conclude race number 2 here at Pitt Race. Revs up, and we're underway.
And Raj got a great start again. Tony Elias got a great start. This is not what Cameron Beaubier wants, is to have Tony Elias go charging up underneath him. But that's exactly what's going to happen, Greg. That's going to open it up for Josh Hayes. It should, anyways, get Josh up close to Cameron as they go up over the top of the hill. But now the fireworks are going to start. We got 6 laps to go. Cameron got a good jump. Tony got a better jump. And now it's going to be a matter of if Raj can get away early at the front.
Roger Hayden trying to find the rhythm that he had. He told Hannah during the red flag that he had a good rhythm going. You can see the disappointment in his face, but Roger has it going on his way right now.
Jake Gagne, horrible start, so not sure exactly what happened to him there, but really hard start. Look at Cameron, he's trying to go by Tony, but see how Tony just closes off that entry. It's going to make it hard. This could be the best thing that could happen for Raj if he can start to pull away just a little bit, but this is where Tony's so good. He just gets a hold of you and won't let go, and if he can just kind of try to keep up with Raj early, but you can see this bike's just running a little bit wide in that right-hander, Greg, and it's been pretty consistent. Jake, here comes Cameron trying to go up underneath him.
So Tony Elias has to live for the moment. Cameron,
wow! That is huge!
Can Cam save it?
Yep, he can. But what a huge break there for Cameron to not go up over the top of that. Now Josh Hayes is going to try to work on Tony Elias to try to go chasing after the number 95 of Roger Hayden. And there's Cameron. What has happened to Cameron? Is he hurt, Greg?
I mean, I wouldn't doubt that Cameron pulled something trying to hold on to that motorcycle. He looks like he is in a lot of pain.
Yeah.
You can rack some body parts in that one too, Jason.
Yes, you can. You really can.
It looks like his shoulder. He's pointing maybe to his right arm.
Dislocated his right shoulder, possibly. But this is going off the start line here. You can see that Tony has jumped up underneath and just made the pass going into turn 1. As they came in here, Cameron needed to get by. He did not want to be squared up. That's why he's going to get on the gas hard here. Snaps himself that way. Now he's going to run off the track, Greg, and he gets his bike in control, runs off in the grass. I'm not exactly sure where the injury could have occurred, but he might have popped his shoulder out of socket.
So Cameron Beaubier injured in a non-crash incident, but a save, and it does happen. So now we talk about this championship and Tony Elias's luck. And I mean, listen, he's got 65 points over Beaubier, and it was Tony Elias who forced Cameron into that mistake. There's no question about it. But with this red flag restart, it's really up to Josh Hayes to put himself between Roger Hayden and Tony Elias.
Yeah, but at this point, Greg, coming into this 65 points was the gap, and his point lead is going to increase no matter what happens. I think Josh right now can see a race win in his sight. That's what he wants. Let's see if he can get through this left and this next right the way he had earlier. Now he's just too far back right now to try to do anything with Tony. Right now, Raj has just done the fastest first split. Just kind of a mediocre second split for Raj. But let's see how this third split goes. He's able to just kind of keep eking away. And Matthew Schultz doing a great job, running 4th overall with a Superbike podium in front of him. Bobby Fong, Sylvain Berrier, a couple guys. Sylvain Berrier, we haven't seen. Jake Lewis, 7th. So good to see Jake Lewis back up there, but he had to come from 10th. So, but now we got 3 to go. Raj goes 41.7. Tony Elias 41.4 though. That's the hard part.
Yep.
Is Tony Elias is still within striking distance of Raj Hayden.
So 41.7, 41.4, 41.6 for Hayes, 41.5 for Schultz, and a 41.8 for Fong. Then it goes back to Berrier and Lewis are all in the 42s, all the way down to Ant West. We did our first of our 43.3s. Ant West back there in 12th spot on the 13.
Just would like to see Raj just be able to get his head down and pull out another second. If he can get a second, right now he's in just around a second. If he can just kind of put in one good solid hard lap here with Tony charging. Man, he just he's just so good at just getting stuck in and working hard on not letting somebody go. He races forward all the time. He doesn't really concern himself with what's going on behind him. He wants to get that first place up in front of him, and that's what he's looking for.
A little bit of protest from the rear end of that GSX-R 1000 on that one.
And that's what we kind of saw in the first part of this race. Remember earlier on at the beginning of the first part of this race, we saw a lot of movement under initial throttle. And he's got the same kind of thing going. But right now what he's doing is he's pulling Josh Hayes along with him. Matthew Schultz is going along with both of them.
6-lap sprint race to the end after red flag conditions. We have 4 to go through the chicane, the MotoAmerica chicane into turn 16, then 17. You see, they're just closing him down. 34.4 now. Fastest split from Matthew Schultz in that second split. But look at Bobby Fong. He's not letting Matthew Schultz get away either. Remember yesterday, Bobby took the lead on that Superstock right at the very end of the race. And Matthew Schultz is still within sight of Bobby Fong right now. Sylvain Berrier running a very good 6th place. We just saw the pit board for Tony Elias, and that was his indication that Beaubier was out. So that will at least give Tony Elias, if he's really struggling, a little bit of breathing room as we take a look at a replay of Tony on the right side of the tire.
Coming up out of turn 6, this is the spot that's going to put a lot of load on the tire, and you can see he's trying to get that bike short shifted, and he gets his knee off in the grass. What that does there is it really allows him to open up his exit a lot. And Raj is just going to have to do everything he can to run the best next 2.5 laps that he can to try to keep Tony behind him. Tony getting that message really frees him up. It really frees him up. The championship really now is a 79-point lead. Tony can afford to take a couple chances and still be fine. If he leaves New Jersey with a 51-point lead, he wins the championship. Right now it's at 79, so he's really got nothing to lose, Greg, by just chasing down Raj right now.
Roger Hayden is 84 points back in this title chase. So if Tony Elias was finishing second to Roger Hayden, it's only a 5-point ding there. That would take it to 79 points, like you're saying. And that's really not that big of a deal, as Tony really, not only does he race forward, Jason, he looks forward. He understands where he is in this championship fight. Doesn't have a contract for next year with Yoshimura Suzuki. I hear they're working on something. Tony told me in no uncertain circumstances that he wants to be here in the U.S. He said the only thing that would take him away from racing in MotoAmerica is if Suzuki MotoGP called for some reason and needed his services.
Yep, he'd be a valuable guy. Right now that team is struggling quite a bit, and he'd be a valuable guy to at least be doing some testing. He's ran a number of different bikes. Raj got in there good. Tony looked like he was awful sideways in the back shot of that. So we're looking at the lap times, 41.5 for Raj, 41.6 for Tony. So, he's right now, Raj is sustaining this pace, but I'll tell you, he does not want to let Tony get too much closer. Raj has not had to deal with fending anybody off. I know he's watching his pit board, and it's a very difficult place to pass. He's going to have to close off all of the entries on the last lap. If he comes across the line this next lap and he sees +0, last time it was +0.5. If I'm his crew, I'd put +0 on there if there's anything less than what it is now, because he needs to close off all of his entries and make sure to not let Tony do one of his famous passes.
And there's less than 2 laps to go in this one, so it's winding down pretty quickly. For those people that are waiting for the Real Madrid versus Valencia game, it's coming up after this.
Jake Lewis has got by Sylvain Berrier with Danny and Jake Gagne just behind. I'm sure Jake will tell us later on exactly what happened to him. He's been moving himself forward since that horrendous start he just got there. I'm not going to say it had anything to do with the clutch or anything like that. He just maybe got a bad jump. He gets underneath Danny Eslick as they head into turn 12.
Nice move for Gagne.
Gagne is just kind of methodically getting himself and moving himself forward right now. Good run by Sylvain Berrier here too on the restart.
Roger Hayden back up front we go. So Roger Hayden, Tony Elias as close as ever. Josh Hayes, could he be the spoiler in this one? Tony closes up on the brakes as he loves to do, but not quite the drive that Roger got.
Yep,
So Roger's having his way right now in terms of the lines he wants to run. But here we go. It's the final lap of the race. If you're sitting down, get out of your chair, because number 95, Roger Hayden, is trying to win another race in MotoAmerica in the MotoAmerica Superbike class.
Josh has got a great run on Tony right now. See if he tries to do anything with him up to turn 3. Elias is just so hard to pass in the brakes, but Raj, with a tremendous first and second turn sector of this track, as they head down to turn 5, he's actually pulled it out a little bit, Greg, from where they came across the line. It was 0.4 when they came across, but now we're kind of getting into that territory. Turn 7 is going to be a spot where if Tony would have been close enough, he could have taken a shot. He's really only got maybe 1, maybe 2 spots after this that he can really take a shot. One of them would be going in the chicane. Right now he's not close enough, and the last one's going to be the last corner. And I'm sure Raj will have that last turn closed off pretty good.
Roger Hayden looking for his second victory of the year. It was race number 5 in Virginia Race 1, the last time we saw him win. A lot of emotions tied up in this one for the Hayden family, as Tony Elias right now is starting to lose touch with his teammate on this final lap. The question is this going to be the time when Tony Elias gets his first third-place finish of the year? As Tony's finished nothing but first and second in one DNF.
Josh is on it right here, Greg, as they go into the chicane. But nope, and look how close Tony got. Look how close he is. Now Raj has got to close off this last corner.
Oh, Tony Elias trying to dive bomb it in. He doesn't do it, so Roger Hayden leading the way. This is closed up to nothing between them. And in one more corner for Roger Hayden. He'll sweep through turn number 19 and head toward the checkered flag and take a victory here at Pitt Race.
Awesome finish, Raj. Really good job. Tony Elias, great job also.
Well, folks, we're going to get out of here in just a few moments. This coverage will continue on BN Sports Connect as we take you to the Real Madrid versus Valencia game. Roger Hayden with a 0.2 of a second victory. Thanks for joining us. For Jason and Hannah, I'm Greg. We'll see you next time. MotoAmerica Superbike, Bazaz Superstock 1000 coverage from Pitt Race here on BN Sports Connect as Roger Hayden takes victory by 0.2 of a second over his teammate Tony Elias and Josh Hayes. And Roger Hayden worked for it and did an amazing job. Got off the motorcycle. For those of you that are tuned in and saw it, he's always wearing his brother's shirt, the number 69. His crew. Big congratulations.
Yeah, it's a big deal for them. And I think the whole paddock is probably going to show up at that winner's circle, Greg.
Yeah, no doubt. So an emotional win across the board. And, you know, there's been times during the course of the year where, you know, if Tony Elias wasn't the racer he was, that he might have tried to roll out of it and give it to his teammate. But there was definitely none of that today. And, you know, I think that's why Tony went afterwards. They stopped on the racetrack, and Tony congratulated him because Tony's ingrained with Nicky Hayden in his World Championship back in 2006. And a victory that he had in order to enable the points difference for Nicky Hayden to win that championship. And Tony Elias, of course, a big fan of the Hayden family all the way across the board. So Tony, a very interesting day for Tony Elias as it could have started out in disaster as he came ripping up after the sighting lap and everybody was parked and went right through the grass, but a good job by him. So your running order is going to be Roger Hayden, Tony Elias, Josh Hayes. Matthew Skolt's going to win the super stock battle over Bobby Fong and Jake Lewis. Jake Lewis definitely a benefactor after that red flag. And so let's go down to, I'm sure, a very emotional Roger Hayden. Hannah?
Roger, up in the booth, they said, you know, we're going down to a very emotional Roger Hayden right now. This is a very long and hard-fought win for you. What's going through your mind right now? What emotions are you feeling?
You know, I'm just so excited to get a win, not just for me, but for my family. For everything we've been through the last couple months, sticking together, sticking behind me, and being close to winning some races. And to be honest, I had mixed feelings coming into this weekend just because of what happened last time we was here at the test. But I've been wanting to win real bad, dedicate the race to my brother Nicky. So this one's for him. And I think it's the first race I never looked at my pit board. I just took my head down and just went, and just glad to get a win. I can't thank my team. They worked their butts off last night. They gave me a great bike. We set the pace, and we got a win today. So can't thank Yoshimura, Suzuki, Arai Helmets, Alpine Star, Monster Energy, everybody's behind me, my family, my fiance, my team, aunts, uncles, cousins, friends at home, everybody. Just been behind me so much last couple months and keeping me going. So thank you.
Congratulations. Great job, Roger.
He's been wearing that inner suit, Greg, like all year. And, you know, we can't stress it enough. Greg and I were here for the test, and we found out about Nicky early that Wednesday morning, and Raj decided not to ride that afternoon. We said, hey, Raj, you know, we'd understand. You need to get home, and here's a great shot what he did to all the fans. He got off the track in turn 2. And Raj said, you know, I don't think that's what Nicky would want, guys. I think Nicky would want me to stay here. And he came here the next day ready to do work, and he did his due diligence. He went out and looked at the track, and he said, you know, I'm just going to go out and ride around. And I'm just going to see where the track is. That way when we come back, we're going to know. And he didn't just ride around, Greg. He rode hard that second day. And,
yeah, he did.
And, you know, with everything that was going on, I mean, full credit to him.
Let's go back down to Hannah, who has Tony Elias.
Now, Tony, after the restart, you were able to close the gap and catch up to your teammate just a little bit, but it wasn't quite enough. Tell us about your race.
Well, I think my team did a great job this morning improving my bike. We improved more than half second the pace, but I don't know, for some reason, since the first lap I didn't felt good grip in the rear grip. Losing the bike and risking many times. In race 1, I start to changing all my traction controls, power delivery, engine brake. I was becoming crazy trying to increase the traction control, working a little bit more early, but nothing to do. I lost them, but when I arrived, I said I need another tire just in case, or check the electronic systems. Everything was fine, but the tire was impossible to change. Then I was thinking, oh my God, this one will be tough. But in the last moment, my team thought to give me 1 milli preload in front to try to solve a little bit the rear problem, and we did it. My pace was 2-3 tenths better than the first race, and well, Roger today has been incredible, so fast. I'm very happy for him. He deserves it. He's a good teammate. We work a lot together, and I know this is a difficult place for him. And look, victory is amazing, and for sure Nicky will be very proud of him.
Thank you so much, Tony. Congrats.
So Tony Elias, who definitely stepped up his pace, he did a 41.495 in the second half of that race to Roger Hayden's best 41.570. But you could see it just wasn't quite, just a little bit looser. But that one rider who had a chance of spoiling the party for everyone was number 4, Josh Hayes. And he's with Hannah right now.
That's right, Josh. You made a really, really strong effort to catch up to Tony. Really fought hard for this podium. Tell us about your race.
Yeah, you know, before the red flag, Tony was having some troubles in some areas, and then I don't know, in that second start, he just could smell blood. He could smell the wind. So all of those areas where I was stronger than him, he made sure he solidified and made a little bit better. And I was always pretty close, but I could never get myself in the position I needed to be in to make a pass. And, you know, I feel terrible for Cameron, but you got to love a guy that'll ride it into the ground to try to win. Love that kid, and I hope he's all right. And I'm happy to be up here for the team. It's been a long, hard weekend on a new racetrack, and Dunlop did a fantastic job for us this weekend, and I was happy with my bike. I had a bike that could win. I just didn't get it in the right spot. But big thanks to those guys, and we'll see you in New Jersey.
All right, Josh. Thank you so much.
All right, so Josh Hayes just, I mean, always tells it like it is, just couldn't get it in that position.
It's a hard track to pass on, and when you have a frantic 6-lap race like you did there at the end, you know, everyone's just kind of, there's a lot of moving, there's a lot of shaking going on at the front. Everybody's trying to protect and chase, and he just wasn't able to make the pass that he felt was going to be a good, clean one on Tony. So, you know, but the good thing is Josh's bike looked really good today, a lot better than I've seen it look.
As we wrap things up here from Pitt Race, here's your race results. It's Roger Hayden, 2 tenths over Tony Elias. Josh Hayes, a couple tenths behind him. And then in 4th, Skoltz, Fong, Lewis, Gagne in 7th, Sylvain Berriet. Good solid 8 points for Sylvain Berriet. And on back through the field, Hayden Gillum, of course, didn't start that second one as he was person who caused the red flag. And we're definitely going to check in on Hayden Gillum to make sure he's okay, as he got up, walked away from a very, very scary crash, and with a neck brace around. Here's a look at the championship points. Just like Jason said, 79 points now separates Tony, and Roger Hayden moves into 2nd overall in this championship. Beaubier, we'll have to see how bad his injury is, if he's going to be out in 2 weeks. But 85 points for a rider who is on a tear. So, let's take a look here at the podium, of course.
That's such a good view of that coming down the hill there.
That is awesome. The Motul podium as Roger Hayden gets his first victory since race number 5 on the season. And Roger Hayden standing up there with James, one of his main mechanics who works on his bike, and they work so hard, and he'll get the manufacturer trophy. So the Motul podium with Tony Elias in 2nd spot. And this is one of those times, I think, where Tony is as happy for Roger as Roger is for himself, as well as his team. I'm sure Josh Hayes is very happy for Roger, too. He knows what's at stake in this one. So good look at the Motul podium as they celebrate. Let's go to Hannah, who has our Superstock 1000 winner.
That's right. I'm here with Matthew Skoltz. Matthew, you were just off the top step of the podium yesterday. Bobby got you guys at the line there, but, you know, solid finish for you today. Tell us about how your race went. I know you said that the restart didn't really affect your position at all today.
Yeah, no, after the flagger came out, I had a pretty decent jump off the line. I was following the Superbike guys, and that really helped me out with put a decent pace down. And I'm just really happy that I can open up the championship lead. You know, that means everything. You know, I just like to thank the Yoshimura Westby guys. That was an awesome race. It was a really hard race. You know, I was tucking the front everywhere and stuff, but you know, I'm just really happy that we could take the Superstock victory, and now I'm looking forward to the final two races left.
Well, congratulations. Great job today. Thanks, Matthew.
Thank you guys.
So Matthew Skoltz with a fine victory in a very odd race. And Skoltz, that'll be his 7th win of the season. He's got 7 second-place finishes and a 3rd. And you know what, Jason, I was doing some math earlier. The difference between Matthew Skoltz and Bobby Fong when Fong finishes, because he's had several DNFs, was only a 1/10 of a point difference, 21.7 to 21.8 points difference when they finished. Let's go back down to Hannah.
That's right. I'm down here with Bobby Fong. It seems like the spout of bad luck that you had is over. 2nd podium for you this weekend. Tell us about your race.
Yeah, no, it was a good race. Can't be too satisfied with 2nd place, but it was a 1-2 this weekend. Made a few mistakes out there and dealt with some issues, but hey, it's a part of racing, and we're going to move on to New Jersey and try to get the win over there. But congratulations to Matthew, and my Quicksilver latest motors Kawasaki was obviously on point, and we'll try to give it hell the next round.
Thanks, Bobby.
All right, so Bobby Fong, 2.8 seconds adrift of Matthew Skoltz in that one. So he had a bit of a lonely race towards the end. But he'll go 1-2 on the weekend, and kind of, you know, no points gained, no points lost in his battle for the championship, as Fong sits back all the way in 3rd in the championship, because really just of those 4 DNFs, 4 DNFs
those
is a lot.
Really hurt him a little bit this year. A few of those DNFs, no question.
All right, let's go down to the 3rd place finisher in the Pizzazz Superstock 1000 class, Jake Lewis.
Now, I got to talk to you during the red flag, and you were saying you were making some adjustments to the suspension, I think. Did that help you when you went back out?
Yeah, I mean, a little bit. We missed the setup huge at the first part of the race, and I was getting my butt handed to me, and luckily there was a long red flag, but, I mean, I hate to see Hayden go down like that. I saw it firsthand. It was a pretty scary crash, but, I mean, we changed the shock, the link, everything kind of back to where it was yesterday, but still, I mean, I was struggling a lot and pretty much got my butt handed to me. And obviously, you can tell I'm pretty frustrated because on Friday and Saturday we had a good day, but today not so good. And go back to work and hopefully be up front at New Jersey. You know, big thanks to the whole M4 XR Suzuki guys because they worked hard all weekend trying to put me on top of the box, but couldn't get it done this weekend. So we'll give it a shot in 2 weeks.
All right, thanks, Jake. We'll see you in New Jersey.
Jake Lewis continues to be 2nd in the points, and he's going to lose some ground, finishing 9 points behind points leader Matthew Skoltz in this one. So, Jake Lewis, good job standing on the podium. Let's take a look at the race highlights. Jason Pridmore, this is how this one unfolded.
Yeah, at the original start here, see Raj gets off to a good start. Cameron's just to his right behind him, just to the right of Tony Elias, and Cameron almost got at the back. It looked like to Raj. I'm sure if you talk to Cameron, he'd tell you the same. And he kind of got shuffled back very, very early at the start of the race. Meanwhile, Raj was out front, putting in some very, very fast laps. We saw Matthew Skoltz early jump over that curbing on the first lap of the first start. And then as Tony got into 2nd, Cameron started moving his way forward. Tony stayed in 2nd. Cameron started moving his way forward, with Josh Hayes running a pretty solid 3rd. Jake Gagne was also trying to latch onto the back of that group. See the bike get a little bit sideways there. And then all of a sudden, the Yamaha boys started to find a great place to pass on the exit of turn 14 into the fastest section of the track, that fast left-hand kink. Cameron slid underneath Tony, and then the next lap, you see his teammate Josh Hayes do the exact same thing as they go underneath Tony Elias in that fast kink. Tony complaining later on just about not quite having the feel or the setup that he thought he had. Thought he made some improvements this morning, but he just didn't have it in the race. Maybe bad tire. But then we all held our breaths after this one, Greg. Seeing Hayden Gillum go down like this was just no fun for anybody. Seeing him hit that tire wall. The bike was sent over. We had a red flag. We had a restart. We were all kind of thinking, all right, what's going to happen? Well, Tony got a great start from the 2nd row to put himself up alongside Cameron Beaubier as they head down into turn 1. It was very similar to the first start. Cameron didn't just have a clean first one like we thought he'd, turn 1 like we thought he did. But he was quick to get to the front, or trying quickly to get to the front. Made a mistake as they exited turn 12, up over the top. We think he injured himself somehow, but all the race long from that point on, it was these 3 guys coming across the line. Raj Hayden finally gets the victory we've all been wondering about when it was going to happen. Tony Elias, you can see, he's just as happy for his teammate as he would be for himself probably at this point. Tough place for Raj to come back to after the events that we talked about. He's got the 69 flying underneath his leathers there. Great victory for Roger Hayden today.
And that Yoshimura Suzuki crewman was Rhett, who works actually for Tony Elias, but cheering on Roger Hayden's victory.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Pretty tight-knit group. A lot of the same guys have been there for a bunch of years. You can see Darren making his way over there in that shot over to Raj, who crew chiefs for Tony also.
So a great race weekend here at Pitt Race. And that'll do it for MotoAmerica's coverage on beIN Sports. Next time, in a couple weeks in New Jersey, we'll see you for round number 9. For Jason Pridmore and for Hannah Loper, I'm Craig White. Thanks so much for joining us. See you next time. Bye-bye.